Welcome to another episode of Raising Awareness. I am your temporary host, Nick Richards, doubling as the station manager of MCTV. And with us, as always, is Vincent Sissom.
Glad to be back.
How have you been?
Good.
Yeah, been up to anything in particular?
Not really, other than something we'll get into in the hot topics.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you said we have a lot of hot topics today.
Yeah. Including one given to me by my landlord, so this is going to be a good one. Hot topics are going to take up their own section.
Okay, should we jump right into some of these? Or?
Well, let's get the questions from the general public out first.
Okay, all right. Well, one person asked, and this is, we've talked about your career path and your jobs quite a bit in the past. How has having a disability impacted your opportunities in the career field?
Well, for the most part, it makes it strange because certain jobs most people could get, I couldn't get.
Okay.
But other jobs like think tank possibly for the military one time, they actually considered me because of my Asperger's.
Okay.
And the fact that I was pretty good as a strategist, so they were considering me for a position there. But now that I'm 30, I'm no longer eligible, and I didn't want to take it, but the opportunity was still there until I was 28.
Okay. Do you suspect that overall, you're from what I'm hearing, you're not offered certain opportunities, but you have other opportunities that maybe somebody else wouldn't have. Do you think those balance each other out, or?
Yeah. I mean, having disabilities do tend to make you looked down upon by some employers. Like, if they have a choice between someone who's disabled but qualified and someone who isn't disabled and qualifies, they would typically take the one that isn't disabled just depending on what the disability is. Now, if it's a common one like ADHD, they're not even going to factor that in. But if it's something like, say, the R word, developmentally challenged, but the person still qualifies for the position, they might take someone who isn't disabled over that person just because with certain disabilities, it's a lot of unknown risks.
Okay. How do you have any thoughts on how we could improve that? Is there an educational element? Is there what do you think we could do to help?
Well, the way I got my job was through doors, and if doors could do what they're did for me for every person with disability, they would have no issue getting them jobs.
Okay.
Because what they're doing is they're educating the employers about the person's strengths and weaknesses, and they're making it so that they're helping in other ways. Like if a person needs transportation, they help with that so that they could work certain hours. They are able to educate the supervisor that, hey, this might happen, or this is something that they frequently do and it's perfectly okay. It's not going to be a serious hindrance. That sort of thing.
Okay, so you think that programs like DOORS provide everything that's needed, it's just an issue of scale, how big of an effect they have.
Yeah, pretty much. Because DOORS might be a massive government agency, but they can't do every single disability person.
Sure. So then, I guess in order to...
I mean, from what I understood when I was working with them, getting my job at Target, they have a they have a maximum of a four disabled people to each caseworker working with them, but the sad thing is, it's almost double that for what the actual number should be.
What the need is.
What the actual number of people who have disabilities to the number of people actually working at doors.
Okay.
So I know they're doing a lot and they try and get people out the door as quickly as possible, but they do make sure that it's a secure job first.
Sure. So then, in order to help improve that dynamic in our world, maybe the answer is to support programs like Doors.
Yeah, they just need more additional people, because if they can get more people that are understanding of various disabilities and are caring enough about it, it becomes a lot easier.
Fantastic. All right, well, let's hit question number 2. Okay, what is the worst meltdown that you've ever observed or heard about when it comes to disabilities?
I've got 2 stories related to that.
Okay.
One is me personally. One time I was just getting frustrated with my aunt, not with her specifically, but with myself, because she was calling me out on my BS.
Don't you hate that?
Well, I honestly need it most of the time. But when and I literally just banged my head into the counter and she said, "Why are you angry at me?" I said, "I'm not angry at you, I'm angry at myself."
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that help diffuse that situation for you?
Yeah, once she realized, oh, he's not actually angry at me. Okay, sorry.
And you said you had another story?
Another one, and this one's more destructive. This one girl was literally getting angry and going into a severe meltdown at break at Benedictine.
Okay.
Because one of the people she considered a friend would not friend her on Facebook.
The woes of social media.
I mean, it's one thing if he didn't have it, but I found out he did. And it was like, dude, just friend her and be done with it. It's like, I understand you might not always want to talk to her, but seriously, it's much better than having her about to throw a chair at you before you actually go and do it.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, she had a chair up like this.
What do you think are some good, just in general, what are some good techniques to help diffuse somebody who is having a meltdown like that, but in a way that still acknowledges that, like, you know, like in your story, you said that, you know, you felt that in hindsight that you did kind of need to be called out on your BS in that moment. So how does one help de-escalate a meltdown, but still effectively call you out on your, or do what needs to be done?
It varies from person to person, but general technique is not yelling.
Yeah, okay.
That's a big obvious one. Another one is just making sure that you acknowledge what they're saying and realize, okay, this is what they're saying, this is what they're implying. I get that, but this still needs to be addressed.
Okay. Is that something that resonates with you? Do you find that when you're getting really upset that it's a result of you feeling like your feelings aren't being acknowledged?
And honestly, most of the time I get angry at myself for not doing certain things. That's my biggest problem. And typically, if I'm angry at you, you will know it. Like, call an ambulance, get ready. But if I'm angry at myself, it's a lot more subtle because I keep it internalized.
Okay. And I imagine harder to like, if you're mad with somebody else, then there's a conversation to be had with that person, whereas if you're angry at yourself, then it's harder for somebody outside of that to resolve it. Okay. Do you think that with the endless communication possibilities of the internet and the prejudices, or straight up a word that I'm not gonna say, we'll believe that, of people, is life going to be harder for people with disabilities with the internet? And
I find that it's sort of a 50-50. It's either gonna be one of the serious helpers for the person by helping them connect with other people, like-minded people. On the other hand, yes, the BS of the internet is going to get to you. Like, seriously, I might not like memes, but I understand some people like them. But seriously, there are some people who literally just communicate using memes. I'm talking to you, Voltus.
Well, I think a lot of things with the internet are going to follow that same double-edged sword, right? Because it's a tool where we can connect to everybody, which is great because you can find things and groups of people that you would have never found before. You can find support that you never would have had access to, but you're also opening yourself up to every jerk that has
Wi-Fi connection.
Anonymous opinion about you and a Wi-Fi connection, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know of any services that would help with that kind of thing? I know in many high schools they're starting to roll out education programs for dealing with social media and the pitfalls and dangers, things to watch out for. Do you know of any specifically for people with disabilities?
Not necessarily for people with disabilities, but one of the things I would recommend is depending on your interests. Ironically, Facebook might still be one of the better options.
Okay.
I mean, yes, some people will be massive jerks, but there's other people on there that will support you. And there's other services like Discord, which I've talked about before.
Yeah.
I've talked about Tumblr, which I've stopped using just because, seriously, I needed to. I was ironically addicted to it for a while.
Okay.
But, yeah, I had to get away from it, and I haven't gotten on for like 6 months.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Discord I still use.
I use that for some, and for those of you not familiar with Discord specifically, it's mostly gaming-related communication platform.
Yeah. Though you can make your own Discord server, and as a friend of mine once said, Discord is Facebook for gamers and communities.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's a good time to take a little break.
Yep.
And then we'll be right back with some hot topics.
Yep.
We are MCTV, Midshore Community Television. We want your help in making our station more robust so that we can better serve the residents of Talbot County. So, how can you help? If you are already making video content, submit that content for broadcast to the station. It's free! Are you involved in events, shows, or lectures that would be of interest to the community? We can work with you to figure out the best way to capture those events for airing on MCTV, be it training, equipment rental, or hiring our production staff to film at a reasonable rate. Do you want to produce your own show? Let us help you get started. Come be a part of this valuable community resource. Email the station at nick@avalonfoundation.org or visit us in the basement of the historic Avalon Theater at 40 East Dover Street in downtown Easton.
Welcome back to Raising Awareness. I am Nick Richards, and this is Vincent Sissom, and we're going to get into some hot topics here that we typically like to hit one or two on these episodes, but you have a nice list of hot topics for us to discuss. And the first one you have is low-income housing.
Yep. And this was given to me by my landlord. Thank you, Missy. And, well, the thing about it is there's not seemingly enough low-income apartments for people who need it. And Easton is one of the more expensive richest places. It doesn't compare to Ocean City, but what does? But there's just not enough low-income apartments. Like, I mean, I've told people this multiple times. I spend $375 a month for my apartment, but the cheapest price you can find for an apartment. Well, let's even talk about just a single room, because seriously, $600 for a room is ridiculous, Easton. Seriously.
Oh, and I myself, my wife and I, when we moved to Easton, we were renting for a little bit, but when we finally had enough funds to buy a house, we ended up buying in Denton because we couldn't afford to live in Easton.
Wow.
Really. So, that's... And
that's a half-hour commute to here.
Right. Yeah. Which we ended up getting a beautiful house. We love Easton. We both work in Easton. We would love to be a part of the community, but we just couldn't afford it. You know, that's something that's being discussed a lot on the county level as well, is workforce housing and low-income housing. There's just, it's a beautiful community, but it's dense with very nice houses and expensive houses, so it's...
Yeah, which outside of one rural street, well, maybe two, you can count two as being about the only places they have places that you could buy a mortgage for $1,000 or less.
So what do we do about it?
We could do some things that could be done is giving incentive to people who already own houses to open it up to possible renters. But that might still have its own issues, but if it's like a 2-story building, you could rent out the top floor to someone living there and charge them reasonably for it.
Right.
Like most times, if you have a 2-story house, you don't have a severe need for money, so you could charge like half the utilities and like $500, $600 for a floor.
It doesn't really help the problem if they're renting out part of their house but charging so much that it's in line with everything else.
Yeah, but that's still better than most places. Like, I've heard of people in Easton charging $600 for a room.
Sure.
Yeah, so $500, $600 for an entire floor in a 2-story house. That wouldn't be too bad. I mean, that's about how much some of the other apartments at my apartment complex pay for their apartment. So, and that's a floor is bigger than that, so it still help.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one thing we will need to do for that to get true low income apartments is to actually gain enough places for those people to go. And one of the places that's currently taking people is another Mongolia place on the other side of Easton near the firehouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be another low-income place, but 2 sets of it is not going to be enough for how many people actually need it.
Sure.
So
keep supporting those developments if low income housing is a hot topic that's important to you.
yeah, and there's other things people could do if they decide, like the suggestion I made, but those other places around Easton that could qualify, that would want to help, they could just make some of their apartments low income or
Okay.
income based and actually get more tenants in.
What would I think maybe one of the criticisms on the other side of that argument is people worried about the not in my backyard argument, that they don't want low income communities detracting from what they love about Easton. What would your argument be to them?
The fact that that sort of argument could not, the fact that that argument could be made at all just shows how much pride people ironically have. But as a true counter to that argument, take a look at other places that are not as rich and have those sort of, like, take Wharton for example. It's nowhere near as expensive of a place to live, and ironically, after the gangs got out of there when they graduated high school, hardly any crimes happened over there from what I understand. I haven't heard of any serious instances coming from Wharton, and it used to be popping up in the news.
Okay.
So, yeah, if nothing's been happening in Wharton since then, and it's much lower income, it's not necessarily the low income that is the problem.
That it's a false equivalency to
Yeah.
tie those two together.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there are some tendencies, like people who are lower income might be more desperate, but that's about the only correlation between low income people and people who actually commit crimes. That's about the only comparison.
Okay. Well, let's hit topic 2, video games.
Yeah, there's been a new system came out last year, the Switch,
Yeah.
and just recently Nintendo started charging for online.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to talk about that because while the fact that Nintendo is charging it is not even the biggest issue, it's what little you're getting for it. But then again, what you're paying, $20 for a year for one account, and if you have a family system and you decide to get a family account, it's $33 a year
Okay.
for up to 8.
So very affordable. I know some does Xbox charge a monthly?
for their gold membership,
Okay.
and that's around $40 for 3 months, I believe.
Okay. So Nintendo, by comparison, is much less expensive. But what do you get for that money?
You get the ability to play games online, you get the ability, you get discounts on indies,
Okay.
certain indie games. So you get the NES system online where you can literally play old NES games with friends across the nation.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I even know of some people in Canada playing with people in America. Shout out to Aro Yoshi on that one. You also get cloud saves, which Xbox does provide for free by default, but you need to pay for their membership just to access them. They do provide free, we'll save it for you, but you need to pay for our services to retrieve.
Actually get it.
Yeah, but they don't charge anything like that.
So what do you think? What's your verdict on Nintendo charging for online?
I knew it was gonna happen, but they gave us 18 months instead of the 6 months they were planning, and I think people got a little too complacent. The fact that you could get a year for about the price of a dinner at a restaurant is really great. But it's one of those sort of things where if you're, it's well worth it for certain games, but you should at the very least be more aware of what you get for all that.
Sure. Make sure that it's worth that cost for you and your gaming needs.
Yeah, I mean, literally, you can't play online without it with your Switch, but there's plenty of single-player games. Unfortunately, one of their more popular games, Splatoon, does require it. So it's like you're paying for a full-price game plus an additional $20 for a year of playing it and other games, but
I've mostly just played Skyrim and Zelda on mine. So single player, I'm not the kind of gamer that would need online access probably.
probably, though there is a free game on there that you can just download, Paladins. That is a really great game. It does require it, but that game alone makes me made me get it just because it's that good of a game.
Wow. Oh, fantastic.
Check it out.
All right. Well, if you're a Switch player, check out their online stuff. And now we'll move on to the Goosebump Jump. What is the Goosebump Jump?
The Goosebump Jump is basically like the little cousin to the Polar Bear Plunge.
Oh, okay.
It's still jumping into cold water during a sort of winter time, but the differences are better to beach instead of Sandy Point, in November instead of January or February, supports the Kids Center instead of Special Olympics, and the water is much warmer. I've done both, I know the difference. Seriously, it's like comparing a cold bath in a tub to literally putting ice cubes in that bathtub in comparison.
So, how many times have you done these kind of
I
cold
did
water
the
plunges?
Goosebump jumps for a number of years. I missed last year because I had to work, but it's one of those sort of things where I didn't really mind missing 1 year. And I've already scheduled the day off from work, so I'm good. I'm actually going to be jumping with hopefully, some co-workers of mine from Target of Easton, and we're going to be jumping as a group.
Oh, great. So, this is something you've done for a while. Why are you so passionate about it?
Well, the Kent Center supports people with developmental disabilities, and I used to live in Kent County, and I know people who are regulars at the Kent Center, so I want to help them out.
Oh, that's fantastic. Cool.
And by the way, if you do the Goosebump jump and you don't find it too bad, it's a pretty safe bet you'll be able to handle the Polar Bear Plunge.
And support another great organization.
Oh, there's one other difference. You only have to raise $25 instead of $50.
Okay, so a little easier bar to cross.
Yeah.
But they won't stop you at 25, right?
They won't stop you. 2 years ago, I went there. The person who got the golden goose, which is the person who raised the most amount of money, raised $4K.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
So beat that.
yeah.
All right, and now we have the election. It is election season.
I don't know who I'm voting for yet. I have to check their platforms and other things, but yeah.
Now, are you talking local elections, state elections?
Mix of both.
Okay.
I still haven't decided on any of the candidates.
Okay. Well, shameless plug for the work of MCTV. We interviewed all of the county candidates, and all of that is available both on the station, but also on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Midshore Community Television. Yep, Midshore Community Television. So they're great casual conversations that we do unbiasedly. We try and ask the same gamut of questions, so you can get a feel for their personalities and their platforms. Good. So check that out.
I will.
So the fact that you're considering many people will vote for the presidential elections, but kind of not get involved. Do you think that local elections are important?
Of course. I mean, any election where people are ironically are voting for the putting people into power, that's always important because that gives the person you're putting in there ways of helping or hindering you. So you have to make sure they're gonna do the best job for you.
Are there special considerations that somebody with disabilities has when they're looking at their options in elections?
Generally, depending on how severe the disability is, they may not vote at all because their parents might not. I mean, I know of one person that I worked at Benedictine. He literally went to his election office, and he was one of the more intelligent people, so it wasn't like he was a severe, but he literally put in for every slot in his county. Donald.
Okay.
Donald Duck.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Because
well, that's an interesting choice.
I mean, yeah. Some people might do that for one or two slots, but he did it for every slot just because he was on a Donald Duck high.
Okay. All right. Felt that he was a genuinely good candidate? Or just was there a political statement with that, or
he said, "I'd rather trust my future to a fictional character than I would to a person running for office."
Okay, so it was a political statement of lack of faith.
Yeah,
in
but
the options.
if it was truly that, he would put different fictional characters for each slot. I think he really just liked Donald Duck.
Okay. All right. Well, I believe the local elections are November 6th. Yes. So make sure you go out and vote.
Yep. Early voting is probably going to be up by the time this airs, if it's not up already.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. Well, anything else you want to throw into the mix?
Nope. But I'm just glad this is the 10th one.
Yeah, our Vincent's 10th episode, going strong, and I look forward to another 10 and another 10 after that, and let's keep it going.
Yep.
All right, I love hearing from you. I love having you on the station and raising awareness, be a part of the offerings to the community. So we'll see you next time.
Yep.
And
That'll probably be next year because holiday season's coming up at work, and
yep.
I cannot possibly get out of that.
It gets busy.
Yeah, seriously, check out Target on a Black Friday. Don't shop! I emphasize that. Don't shop unless you don't care if you get trampled on. But just check it out. It gets crazy.
All right. Well, then we'll see you next time. And any parting words?
Just remember to never judge a book by its cover. Its pages might surprise you, and those pages